Okay, let's get right to it. June 24th or June 4th, it is Thursdays. You're bringing you the news Novak Weather update. We're looking at the visible satellite loop right now. And clearly you can see that some clouds are starting to roll into southern Minnesota now. And in fact, we're starting to get the signs of some expanding cumulus clouds. And some of them are even developing into thunderstorms here over northeastern Iowa. And this is why we are showing portions of South Dakota, northern Iowa, and southern Minnesota in a potential area for at least some scattered severe thunderstorm activity later this afternoon and evening as our atmosphere heats up. And of course, these clouds develop due to the unstable environment and the heating of the ground. I'm thinking from the Twin Cities metro standpoint, which is right here, if we do get storms and any severe storms, I think they would be confined basically from the I-94 corridor, which is right about here on south. Again, I'm not expecting a major severe weather outbreak, but it certainly doesn't hurt to keep an eye to the sky yet later this afternoon and evening. Here's Twin Cities radar. Nothing really to show you, just a couple of scattered sprinkles out west of the Twin Cities in southwestern Minnesota. So really kind of a quiet environment right now, but that definitely could change here over the next 3 to 6 hours. Temperatures across the region are in the 70s and 80s, low 80s over southern Minnesota, low to mid 80s. Problem is that at least if you want severe weather, and this is a red flag, dew points are only in the 50s. We got a 57 here in the Twin Cities, 52 in Rochester, and a 38-degree dew point up in Brainerd. So there isn't a lot of fuel for storms to work with as we get into the late afternoon and evening hours, but there just may be enough fuel to develop some scattered thunderstorm activity, hence the reason why we need to keep an eye to the sky. As we zoom in just a little bit further into Minnesota, again, you can see 70s and 80s, and these low dew points up here in central and northern Minnesota are a little surprising. Dew points in the 30s and 40s, that's bone dry for this time of year. And then, of course, these dew points in the 50s here over southern Minnesota shows you that there just isn't a lot in the way of fuel in the atmosphere, but maybe just enough to create some thunderstorm activity. Here is the NAM-NEST computer model guidance now. I'm going to go back in time here. This is the future radar from the NAM-NEST, and here is what was depicting now for this afternoon. You can see it's got it pretty much spot on. Just a few light showers here in southwestern Minnesota and sprinkles. But watch what happens as we go through time later this afternoon. Now this is right around the dinner hour. You can see it's expecting thunderstorms to develop over southeastern Minnesota, and these thunderstorms expand as we go through the evening hours over southern and eastern Minnesota and western Wisconsin. So yeah, again, not expecting a significant or widespread severe weather outbreak, but definitely the potential is there for at least some shower and thunderstorm activity. And a couple of these storms could get a little testy as we get into the evening and overnight hours, and of course late this afternoon too. By the time we get to Friday morning, everything should be out of our hair, and we're going to have a nice fresh northwesterly flow and wind in our atmosphere, and that's going to be much dry. That's going to bring drier and cooler air to the upper Midwest as Canadian air starts to dominate. In fact, if we look at temperatures, and let's just look at the NAM-NEST guidance for temperatures as we get into Friday, look at this beautiful atmosphere that develops over Minnesota on Friday, so tomorrow. We're talking about temperatures in the 70s and low 80s across southern, central Minnesota and western Wisconsin, and a fresh northwest breeze. That's a beautiful environment for doing any outdoor activities. And then as we get into Saturday, even a more fresh environment settles in with highs only in the 70s, upper 60s and 70s across the region, and a light wind. And I'm also expecting quite a bit of sunshine, not only tomorrow, but Saturday also, and that may even extend into Sunday. Okay, here is the future jet stream guidance, or at least jet stream pattern from the GFS computer model now. And I'm talking about next week now because we had mentioned this yesterday about my concern for Monday and Tuesday of next week. And let's just focus on Monday evening right now. This is the GFS computer model guidance. Again, this is the river of air at 30 to 35,000 feet. It shows an unusually strong jet streak now, surging up out of Colorado and into southern Canada, into Manitoba. No doubt that the potential for severe weather is going to be there on Monday evening over a good chunk of the upper Midwest, the Dakotas, perhaps much of Minnesota, Nebraska, and Iowa all have potential for severe weather because we will be in the right rear quad of this jet streak, again, which would be located right in this area. This would be the area that's prone for severe weather and heavy rains for that matter. Now, as we go through time, late Monday night and into Tuesday, look at where the jet streak and jet stream sets up on Tuesday. We've got a pretty sharp trough that develops right over the northern plains and upper Midwest on Tuesday, and a jet streak located from the Red River Valley on north into Manitoba. This places much of eastern Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa in an area prone for heavy rains and the potential for severe weather. Again, this is on Tuesday, so certainly something to look forward to, something that we need to pay attention to. And for those that don't need the rain, that's bad news because it looks like quite a bit of rain is going to fall over the upper Midwest, especially Minnesota and Wisconsin, as we go through the early portions of next week. In fact, the European computer model guidance is showing the potential for 2 to 3 inches plus of rain across much of central and northern Minnesota as we get into Monday and Tuesday of next week. That is great news because these areas are in a mini drought right now. So we could definitely use 2 to 3 inches of good soaking rain up in that part of the state. And then, of course, look at the bullseye of rain over eastern Iowa right now and southern Wisconsin. Timing's going to be everything with this storm system early next week. But regardless, no matter what, the potential is going to be there for thunderstorms and heavy rain over much of the upper Midwest as we head in to early next week. And of course, we'll be updating you on that not only this weekend, but as we get into early next week, not only on bringmethenews.com and the Facebook page, but also on Novak Weather Facebook page too. So make sure you're paying attention. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the beautiful Canadian air that's going to be coming in. Take care.